My name is Stephen Sharif. I'm the CEO and Creative Director at Intrepid Studios.
Stephen, what are you showing here at GDC?
We're at GDC showing off a lot of our progress on Ashes of Creation, the MMORPG that we are developing. We're really excited about things that are coming soon with our progress towards Alpha 1, and we want to share that with people.
So talk a little about what this MMO game is all about.
You know, our work on Ashes of Creation really focuses on a few things. It focuses on giving players the agency to kind of change the world around them, to become part of the narrative. And I know that's been said a lot with a lot of other MMORPGs that have come before us, but really they haven't gotten quite to the point where we are aiming for. We want players to literally build the world around them, to construct these cities, to create storylines and narratives that changed based on the decisions of players and actions they take in the world.
So what are some of the challenges when having these dynamic elements in an open world MMO?
Obviously, a lot of the challenges is kind of predicting what the player base is going to do. If you try to do that, you're going to fail. The bottom line is players are going to do things out of the ordinary. They're going to do crazy things that you didn't anticipate. And part of the challenge of creating a game like Ashes of Creation is making it capable to withstand those strange decisions, right? A lot of that comes from testing in our alphas and betas that we have planned, but really it revolves around how we're constructing these narratives and these node systems that kind of develops the world to respond to player actions.
Talk about your relationship with Unreal Engine. They just announced a lot of cool stuff at GDC, especially their analytics for like massive online games such as yours.
I mean, Unreal Engine is amazing. Epic Games is a great partner to have for developers who are looking to get up off the ground quick, to show progress on their development, to utilize tools that other developers are utilizing to accomplish problems that people have experienced in the past. It really doesn't make sense to really, you know, I would advocate for Epic that it doesn't make sense to use another engine because they have such a team of pros that are dedicated to constantly moving that engine forward, and they're here at events like GDC to show that new technology. And being a partner, a developer that's utilizing their engine, you get to see that stuff early sometimes, and you get to implement those things and test them in relationship with Epic and benefit from that study.
So talk a little about the combat in your game. It's very unique. You want a combination of dynamic combat and tab targeting, and your Apocalypse thing is going to help you balance that.
Absolutely, 100%. Part of our goals when it comes to designing a combat system that's really kind of next generation in the sense that it utilizes both traditional tab targeting and action combat in a sense that players get to kind of choose their path forward in that sense. They can pick in the skill tree skills that are more driven towards tab target or action combat, and Apocalypse allows us to test a lot of those features, as we've said previously, hit scan tech, projectiles, those types of designs, gathering design data from that and implementing them into our hybrid system.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen an MMO with hit scan dynamic combat.
Right. No, I mean, I haven't either. There's been a lot of soft targeting that's been done before and labeled as action combat, and that really just doesn't have the type of feel that you get from a hit scan or projectile-based, you know, hitbox on the target that is really, you know, focusing on allowing skill to play a major role in gameplay.
So talk about the idea for Ashes of Creation. Where did this idea come from about making this MMO that's so unique and different from all the other MMO out there?
You know, the idea for Ashes of Creation really stemmed from a little over 10 years ago in a homebrew Pathfinder Dungeons & Dragons campaign that I built. That's where a majority of the storyline comes from. And the idea behind the node system and how that kind of interacts with a world development process comes from my love of, you know, the Civilization series combined with my love for MMORPGs. You know, as an MMORPG player since 7 years old, I've never experienced the ability of players to interact with the development of the world itself. I've always kind of experienced this cookie cutter, railroaded progression from A to B that you're kind of stuck in, and it's the same experience every time for a player, whether they join 6 months back or they're, you know, joining at the time in your server where you're playing. I want players to experience something different, whether they were here at the start of the server or joined 6 months later. You know, they get to have a linear historical presence on that server that is reflected by the decisions of the community. And I know a lot of these buzzwords have been said in the past, but they've never really come to fruition. And I think what we're trying to accomplish with Ashes of Creation is bring that into existence.
One of the unique things you guys are doing is how you're handling flying mounts in your game. Talk a little about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So flying mounts in the MMORPG really are restricted to what we call royal mounts, and royal mounts are achieved through either becoming a king or a queen of one of the 5 castles that exist in the world, or becoming a mayor of one of the great metropolises, and there are only 5 available metropolises. That kind of grants you access to that caliber of mount, which has the ability to fly over the battlefield and to enact its presence through the use of skills that are very impactful and make them meaningful.
So can we focus a little bit on Apocalypse for a second, because so it's not confusion, so there's no confusion. It's not a standalone game. It's a standalone mode that you are collecting data for, so you can help make the game better.
Correct. Yeah, Apocalypse was really built in order to test some of the core systems behind our progress towards Alpha 1. A lot of what Apocalypse offers us is design data that we collect from logs of people playing the game. It tests our back-end infrastructure. It is able to identify issues with having up to 500 players on a single area engaged in battle with one another. All of these things are created for a purpose of honing in the tech so that we can accommodate thousands of players on a server with 500 plus players in a battle.
I know you guys are still in development, and you mentioned just alpha, but do you have any plans for console?
We do not have plans for console at this moment in time. There is definitely a possibility that Apocalypse might be able to see some type of console gameplay in the future. However, our focus right now is getting the MMORPG complete. That is our flagship product. That is the testament to our studios, and that's what we're really focused on getting out, which is PC.
Yeah, it's still too early for that. You're still got to collect all these mountains of data.
Right, absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
So when can people try Apocalypse, and where can they find more information about your game?
We don't yet have an official release date for Apocalypse. However, we are doing several closed beta and open beta tests that we do announce on our social media platforms or on our site at ashesofcreation.com. It is a free-to-play experience. Players will be able to jump in and experience Apocalypse, and we'll be announcing an official launch date for that in the future.